Man, so I was so excited last night. I tweeted it out too. God said, I'm about to overwhelm your enemies. I'm just like, man, he's like, that's what I want you to put for tomorrow's video. I'm like, wow. Did this last year, but in a different way. But I was just like, wow, God, because that's exactly what, a lot of people need nowadays. And I just thank God being able to be used to help somebody. I always tell people, even at work and, people I deal when doing ministry work, if I can allow somebody to feel, 10% a little bit happier than what they were, I feel like, God can take over from there. And he's always working anyway. But God said, I'm about to overwhelm your enemies. Psalm 6:9, the Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord receives my prayer. And some of you guys have prayed, for some things, Verse 10, all my enemies will be overwhelmed with shame and anguish. They will turn back and suddenly be put to shame. Psalm 71:24, my tongue always will utter your righteousness all day long. For they are ashamed, for they are humiliated who seek my hurt. So there are some people that try to hurt you intentionally and unintentionally. So some of them can be temporary enemies. But we'll get to that. Proverbs 16:6. By loving kindness and truth, iniquity is atoned for, and by the fear of the Lord, one keeps away from evil. Verse 7, one of my favorite scriptures. When a man's ways or a person's ways please the Lord, or whenever your way please the Lord, he will make his enemies be at peace with him. Verse 8, better is a little with righteousness than great income with injustice. So God was telling me about enemies, and he said, look in the dictionary. And then he said, you can also have temporary enemies. So a person can be a temporary enemy, and not like, a long-term enemy, like a person to say, oh, they hate you or anything like that. So enemy in the dictionary, a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something, challenger, opposer, a group of people such as a nation against whom another group is fighting a war. So I did a video yesterday talking about we were at Civil War, the war against racism, and injustice. And they can be temporary enemies, because we look at, a lot of people don't understand like what Black Lives Matter, and more people are understanding because they are being educated and taught. That's why it's important. And God said, my people shall perish for lack of knowledge. Some people don't know why somebody is doing what they're doing, and they have to be educated on it. It's simple. A lot of times we say people should know something, and they don't. It's different levels of common sense. What we think somebody should have, they don't. And that's why people have to be educated. Also, other definitions: anyone who causes hatred in your life, something that harms or threatens someone or something. Then God said with the overwhelm. Overwhelm means bury or drown beneath a huge mass. Defeat, completely, give too much of a thing to someone, to overcome completely in mind or feeling, to overpower, overcome, especially with superior forces, destroy, crush. So we looked at temporary. So I asked you today, is your boss your enemy? Is your coworkers, clients, husband, wife, friend, haters, doubters, family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your children, your siblings, liars, managers, people that talk about you, supervisors, church folk, police, animals? You say, why animals? Well, I don't know. You might have a garden or something, and this animal keeps coming in there destroying your garden. It's possible. But anyway, siblings, people, or even you. Are you your worst enemy? Because it says completely overwhelmed, with mine. Sometimes, we say stuff, because we know death and life is in the power of the tongue. And we say things that can, hurt us, You look at, when you look at like Donald Sterling, like what happened with that incident a year ago, what he said, how it, lost his job or anything like that of owning the Clippers organization. But you can be your worst enemy by what you're saying, saying negative, saying that, it's never going to get better, saying that, so God said he's about to overwhelm your enemies today. And again, you can have temporary enemies, and when we continue to show God's love, that's when God can overwhelm our enemies. They'll be like, why are they, you know, being nice to me, or why are they being patient or being kind or anything like that? That's what God did for me too. Like I said, I did a video and I was dealing with somebody at work. You know, a customer was very upset, and he ended up talking to, you know, my boss, you know, my general manager, boss's boss. So, and what happened was, I guess he ended up cussing at him or whatever. But I just thank God because he didn't even cuss at me. So I just thank God for that, you know, and I didn't even let it bother me. You know, I was dealing with him, and like I said, when I was dealing with him, he started to get upset, and you know, we was talking. I was trying to, you know, get his pictures and everything taken care of, and his contacts, and I had to call Apple, you know, because there was a problem with the phone, iCloud, and he was like, "This is not a black or white thing," and I'm like, "What does that have to do with it?" You know, I was like, "I'm talking about cell phones and, you know, pictures and contacts." But I know that everybody is kind of, you know, on edge because of what's happening. But again, you know, it's really not about that, you know. So I just did, you know, and again, I'm not gonna let nobody, you know, disrespect me. But again, you know, there's a way to handle yourself professionally, you know, in the environment, and that's what I did, you know. So, you know, people always say the customer is always right. I believe the customer is always right to a certain extent. But again, I feel like you should treat everybody fairly, and it gave me a chance to deal with another customer, and they came and they was like, you know, we saw you dealing with that guy yesterday. You know, I just wanted to, you know, congratulate you on how you handled yourself. I thought that was very professional. You know, so you never know when people are watching you or anything like that, or, you know, if I ever go for another job somewhere or anything like that, then that person like, yeah, I seen him, man, he handles himself, you know, well. So, you know, but I thank God for that, you know, being able to handle a situation, and also getting a compliment from my manager, like I said, my general manager, you know, saying that and handling things, you know, and like I said, I'm trained for this, you know, God trained me to handle that. Even, you know, that's why I try not to treat people, even if they don't like me, any different, you know. I just treat them how God want me to treat them, and that's it. But all right, so I'm gonna get ready to go to work. I'll see y'all later, and probably have another video tomorrow. All right, God bless.